me back. God knows I've been through this before. I can taste it in the air, and it leaves me wanting more. You crossed me once, it's left a bitter taste, and now you push me, I won't tear you down. If you're man enough to fight, then you're man enough to fall. What are you gonna do with your back against the wall? You played the game so far, now come and claim your prize. There's no escaping this time. You think you know it all. Talk will only take you so far before you have to prove it. This time I'll watch you lose it. You're out of line and out of time. Just walk away while you still have your pride. If you're man enough to fight, then you're man enough to fall. What are you gonna do with your back against the wall? You played the game so far, now come and claim your prize. There's no escaping this time. I will watch you fall.
Welcome to ANZ Combined Racing League's race replay from the Bathurst 12 hour we did earlier in the year, way back in March, the first weekend of March of 2023. I'll be your host tonight, or today I should say, for the race replay, Neil Haynes. Looking forward to bringing this 2.24 hours, so 2 hours and 25-minute race around Mount Panorama to reenact, or to replicate, I should say, simulate a full 12-hour period with the times 5-time progression for the race. Race will start at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you can just see previous winners here of Australia's great endurance race 2018. Welty and Woody Lizard win in the Cadillac GT3 car, back on Project Cars 2 on the Xbox, as did Shads and Cosmic Robbie in 2019 in the Acura NSX GT3. And then we went on to AMS2 in 2022 last year. Fish Racing 3 took victory in the number 12 McLaren 720S GT3, and along that, the track record of a 204.349 was set by Fish Racing in race pace as well last year. So we started off with some practice on the Thursday night of the 2nd of March. For practice 1, it was John Slow in the McLaren 720S with a 202.338, tumbling that track record. But obviously, as the track record stands, it always is race pace. So that could have been a more of a qualifying lap from John Slow. Highlander not too far behind in another McLaren. And then there was a 3 loads of Mercedes-Benz with Gunner, Massive Head and Woody Lizard. And the Unicorn in the Porsche as well. So then on the Friday we had practice session 2. So that was a practice session, early morning practice session actually for practice 1. Practice 2 was a midday session with some thunderstorm late in the session. So this would have all been done in the dry session. John Slow once again tops timesheets with a 202.5 in that McLaren, but Gunner not too far behind, only 0.2 seconds behind him in the Mercedes-Benz, and he toppled Highlander which just couldn't produce the time that he did during the night in practice session 1 in the early morning. And Woody Lizard just nudging a little bit better than what he had done in the morning session with a 204.015, just nudging out Dado in the Porsche. Cuckoo came in the BMW and did a nice solid time of 204.7. And then Dark Lord and the Unicorn were there after those guys. On the Saturday before the race, we had a quick 20-minute practice session 3, and it was Alex K coming out in the Porsche 911 with a 202.751 and leading the pack with a Hugo Sutherland in the Mercedes-Benz with a 202.8. And as you can see down there, Highlander actually got 7 laps done in that 20-minute session, so he did a 204.1 in the Shaka Racing McLaren. And John Slow didn't set a time, either did Gunner or the Unicorn. So they will obviously probably just get themselves set up for the big qualifying session that was had. And you can just see it was done at 5 p.m. With a medium cloud. Track temperatures were hot as a game date was set to February, which is summertime here in Australia at Bathurst. And Hugo Sutherland tops the time sheets again with a 202.621 in that Mercedes AMG GT3. Oh, Hugo, I should say. Sutherland, sorry. Alex K was second in the Porsche with a 203.05. And Gunner and John Slow sitting in pit lane there during the practice session, came out 3rd and 4th respectively, with Highlander in 5th. Woody Lizard not too far behind, with Cuckoo just nudging Woody's heels as well in that BMW. So 13 car field will take to the track for this race. So let's get to the race replay now and we'll see. So settle in. We are going to have a 2 hours and 25 minute race here. So here goes the start of the race. As we said, 4 a.m. game time. And it was Hugo Sutherland who took the lead nice and early from the pole position. With Alex K holding 2nd position in that Porsche as they have the big run up Mountain Straight. And it has to be noted too, Hugo Sutherland in the formation lap as well didn't have his steering wheel set straight and he didn't have his hands on the wheel. So at the time of the game dropping the cars onto the grid, he was unfortunately found himself straight into the wall. So he's carrying a little bit of damage early on in the race, Hugo. In the left-hand front corner, as we can sort of see as he came in and hit pit straight wall. So he's trying his best to keep himself out here in front, as behind him we have got Gunner. And don't be alarmed, his headlights are on. As you can see, he's having massive lag spikes there, lag spikes. And obviously that has affected some of the drivers behind, and that would be very off-putting for John Slow just behind him in the McLaren. And as they all filtered down Conrod Straight to complete the first lap of many here. So we said a 2 hour, 25 minute race is in front of these guys, well, were in front of these guys. As I said, this is a race replay from March this year. And hope you enjoy this race replay. It's a long overdue race replay from our race here at ANZCRL Combined Racing League. Predicted wet weather as well late in the day, so we'll have to see if that does actually eventuate. But at this stage, nice and clear as John Slow has a little look at Gunner down into Hell Corner, and now it's up Mountain Straight and all the cars filtering through nicely. But John Slow well and truly on the tail here of Gunner, and Alex K is starting to make grounds on Hugo. as Gunner takes the inside line. Further down the field, we have got Mark and Dogs, who was in the Nissan. And I think that he may have been the only Nissan out there. It's good to see the big Nissan out on the track. Dado Racer putting a little bit of pressure on Timmy just in front of him for trying to get position 8 away from Timmy, who's in the McLaren. Oh, as Timmy's had a spin through the dipper, and all the cars seem to be able to get through here. So that was lucky, but back up front here, when the cameraman finds the man that we're after, Hugo Sutherland. And he's just starting to now have the pack catch him. And as we said, he's carrying a little bit of damage on the left front of that Mercedes AMG GT3 car. And he's got Alex Kay charging on through to see if he can take this lead from Hugo. Both Alex Kay and Hugo know one another, and most of the other drivers on the grid, these drivers were new to everyone. Just maybe quickly go on the roof cam of Alex Kay. And as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit light in the sky. And that sound of that Porsche is just magnificent sound. And obviously Alex Kay had to put a lot of work into these Porsches. He had to try and get it stable enough, especially up around the top over the skyline and down this section of the circuit, so it wouldn't kill him. And just behind him is still Gunner, defending off the challenge from John Slow. We just missed a little bit of a moment there, I think, of John Slow running off the track. And coming under the clutches now of Woody Lizard and Cuckoo with Highlander as well. So here's a four-way battle, just as the cameraman decided to go to sleep right when there's some action happening. So what can Cuckoo actually, when we said that there was only the oh, he's in the BMW, sorry. I thought he was in the Nissan for his second, but it was only Mark and Dogs. I'll just bring up the overview so we can see. Not too sure what's going on with the... Anyway, things aren't working the way that I'd like to see. I can't get the overview up, but anyway, that's fine. As we're looking at Cuckoo. Listen to that BMW as he's downshifting plenty of flames coming through the dipper. Highlanders just tagging onto the back of Cuckoo. And Woody Lizard still chasing and holding onto the back of John Slow. In the second of the Mercedes, or third actually of the Mercedes, we've got Hugo leading with Gunner in third, and then Woody Lizard in fifth position of the Mercedes runners. Back up front though, it's Hugo. And it's almost a three-way battle for the lead of the race now. For Alex Kay. Bringing along Gunner with him. For a damaged car early on, which was, as I said, as he got dropped down from the AI for the formation lap, Hugo had his wheel actually pointing to the left without his hands on the wheel. And as the AI left and had the driver have control of the car, obviously with that steering wheel pointing to the left, that's the direction the car went, and went straight into the wall of the pit wall along the pit straight. So he'll have a bit of an extended pit stop when he does have a pit stop for damage repair. Now we had real fuel and tyre wear as well for this event, even though we were simulating ×5 time progression to get a full 12-hour time cycle. The drivers were able to do their normal normal full stints without worrying any accelerated tyre wear or fuel burn. So lap 6. And we're about 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes into this 2-hour, 25-minute race. Dado Racer and Mark and Dogs isn't too far behind him in that Nissan, chasing down the Porsche of Dado in the Fenatech one livery. And Timmy's had a big moment there at the cutting. And he's knocked his rear wing off when he reversed it there hastily in a little bit of frustration. So he's obviously going to have to visit pit lane. That car will be a handful around the top of the mountain now without that error. You can see he's already washing speed. He may not even be aware that the wing's actually off this car at this stage. Oh, and a big moment without that rear downforce. So yes, he would not have even probably known that he had lost that rear wing. So Kempy in the big red Mercedes is up into 10th position, into the top 10. Now he didn't have much practice, so he'll be happy that he's squeezed himself in the top 10 now. As it's starting to get a little bit light now, as Gunner has taken the lead of the race, as Hugo has had a mistake. And he's all the way down into 4th position now. So we missed that mistake from Hugo as we're watching the incident with Timmy. The Unicorns into the pits. And Dark Lord's another driver that didn't have a lot of practice for this event as well, in position 12. Now this lead for this race is definitely spicing up. And will we see Hugo also try and make amends from that spin or moment that he's had from first position down to fourth? Dropped the 3 places. And John Slow is right on the back of Alex Kay as he's trying to get back up into second position after losing it earlier on too, when he had a little bit of a moment through the Caltex chase. I should say Caltex chase because it's not known as that's just the chase these days. Show him age. And we can have a look at Hugo having a look down the inside here at Forest Elbow with John Slow just nudging the inside wall. And another nice little battle is between these two here, Cuckoo and Highlander. Cuckoo's extending his gap a little bit there. And not much Highlander's actually getting him in that McLaren. It's got some downright top end speed coming down Conrod Straight. Oh, he was thinking about it. Highlander was thinking to take that move down into Murray's corner, but thought wisely just to give that a break. As we've got the Unicorn still in 13th position on circuit again after visiting the pits early. Can see, so he's having a little bit of troubles with the Porsches. The sun's just starting to come up now as Kempis comes into pit lane, but back up front here it's obviously Alex Kay in second position, holding off John Slow. Hugo's just starting to drop off from these guys now. It looks like John just had a little bit of a moment there coming into the entry for Forest Elbow. And he could be a little bit vulnerable, but the speed, as we said, of that McLaren is pretty impressive. And he should be able to pull away from the AMG. Look at him just gaining ground on that Porsche. I think it's about time that we visit on board with John Slow, and we'll go into the cockpit, camera view, enjoy a lap around Bathurst, and we can see in that mirror there of Hugo having a little look at weaving around as well, trying to see if he can get an opening. It's just a shame on Old Automobilista 2 that we don't have the full graphics on the dash showing the gears that they're in and the speed and everything going on as it should be. With all the temperatures, it would be great to know how much fuel and all that for all the viewers. We'll just add that little bit of extra to the replays one day when they get on top of everything else. Hopefully that can be addressed. As the sun now is well and truly up. So the early morning, it'd be nice and fresh. as he's just run wide, but he's kept it off the wall. And this is the part of the race where drivers really need to knuckle down as the tanks are starting to run down from their full tanks that they had. It's starting to probably get 3/4 of fuel, and it's in a zone where the cars start to perform fairly well. You've got to try and avoid the distractions of that sun, and this is where you need to try and keep in touch of your competitors. Obviously different paces from all the drivers right through the field of the 13 cars. We'll try and concentrate on a few of the mid-packers as well, so it's just not all about the leaders in this race. As I said, a 2-hour, 25-minute race, so plenty to go on. And there you go, lap around Mount Panorama on board the McLaren of John Slow. Hope you enjoyed that. And we'll just have a look at this battle obviously brewing here behind this pack, as we can see the leaders up ahead is of Cuckoo and Highlander. So they're not too far away, only 7 seconds off the lead. And Cuckoo's slowly reeling in Woody Lizard up in 5th position as well. So nice job by Cuckoo in the BMW. And he was one of the only drivers in the BMW, as we said, Mark and Dog's the only driver in the Nissan. And he's in 9th position. Some about 5 seconds or so off this little battle, 5 to 6 seconds. Really look forward to seeing a bigger grid next year here at ANZ Combined Racing League for our 3rd showing on Automobilista 2 for Bathurst 12-hour. Who knows, we may even have a little bit more extra GT3 cars in the game as well to take to the grid for the 2024 version of the Bathurst 2.4 hour, or 12 hour, I should say, not 2.4, 12 hour. And this is a photographer's golden moment with a glow of that sun rising up. Always get a lot of those shots coming them down the pit straight as the photographers get on the outside here of Hell Corner. And also some nice shots up over the top of the mountain as well. Definitely a race that you want to go to in real life if you can, the Bathurst 12-hour. Actually delayed by a couple of weeks, I think, for next year, which will be good. We should maybe see some of the cars from the Daytona 24 from over the States, maybe making the trek down south, which would be very, very good to see some of the top teams racing the mountain in real life. This is a very good little battle that's been going on since the start of the race, really, between Cuckoo and Highlander, but they're slowly, as we said, reeling in Woody Lizard in the Mercedes, as he's just lost a bit of touch from Hugo. We've just got Dark Lord getting lapped here at the moment by these faster cars, so he's just backed it right out. But this is going to be dicey here. Oh, that's Highlander won't be happy about that, but that was just a little bit difficult for Dark Lord. Maybe he could have come off the throttle a little bit earlier down Mountain Straight, but it's easier in the comfort of watching these replay and not being in the thick of things. And Dado, it looks like he's going to be able to get let through fairly easy here. It has to be noted too that some of these drivers who were getting used to the transition from console to PC, as our group has slowly made the transition. So into a new game, totally similar to Project Cars 2, obviously, but obviously got to get used to the different controls and everything like that. And doesn't this Nissan look good now that the sun's out? You can see the livery, the famous Nissan racing livery that we've seen graced around many racetracks around the world. Currently in 9th position. Not too far away from Dado Racer either, 16 seconds away from the lead of the race on lap 12. So he's had some nice consistent pace, which has been good to see. But let's just go up front of this race as we've got the McLaren coming down Conrod with a lot of pace to burn here, and he's trying to poke it down the inside of the chase, which will put him on the outside. Will he go for an up and under, as they call? But no, he's not. Alex K positioned that Porsche right at the right spots of the circuit, and he knows that he's under threat each time down Conrod. And even up into Griffin's Bend of turn 2 here at the end of Mountain Straight. So he's got to concentrate on getting the power down nice and smoothly and get on early out of Hell Corner, which he looks like he's done that. Lights still ablazing. It's a great sight seeing these cars with all their headlights going. It's shaping up to be a very good day on this race replay. But there is that threat of severe weather actually at the end of this race, so the drivers will be keeping an eye on the weather changes. But at this stage, they'll be really enjoying this part of the race. They're almost half an hour into the 2 hour, 25-minute race. So they'll just be getting comfortable, you could say, for the long haul. And they'd be glad to see that it's probably ticked over on their screen, less than 2 hours to go, which is always a blessing to see that. No driver swaps in AMS2 at this stage, but we have had the ability to do something similar for a driver swap as we haven't looked down into the chase. And now he's having a look down the inside. He's pushed Alex a little bit. Well, he hasn't pushed him at all. He's just forced himself. Oh, and a big moment from Alex K as he was trying to defend that position. Maybe he was just a little bit too aggressive and had to let that position go early in the race. There was no touch in that little bit of exchange of that position change. So he's in pit lane for damage repair. So he's going to drop a ton of time. As now we're looking at Highlander, seeing if he can get that power of that McLaren up the hill and in front of Kuko in this BMW. They've all gained a position now. after Alex's little mistake as he was battling hard with John Slow and trying to get back at John. And his car went fully upright as he hit the wall. That was a hard shunt, so he's going to be there for a while for repairs. Oh, and Cuckoo. Cuckoo's had a little bit of a moment out of the cutting. A little bit of front end damage you can see on the front right hand corner where he nosed it into the wall. The drivers were getting a little bit lazy. And now Dado is looking excited to see if he can get up into the top 6. He's already seen his compatriot Porsche driver, Alex, in the pit lane for damage. So the Porsche fortunes at the moment are resting on Dado Racer. As he comes charging down, Conrad. As Hugo's into the pits, so he's in early for the pit stop as well. Lap 15. So looks like he'll get that front end damage repaired here on this stop as well. So Woody Lizard is now finds himself in 3rd position. And just in front of Highlander. And that would have been Highlander and Cuckoo. But Cuckoo, as we said, well, Cuckoo was actually in front of Highlander, coming through the cut in here last lap around. But now he's becoming under the challenge of Dado Racer in this Porsche. Another nice little battle if it is eventuating, as we can see here, is Dark Lord starting to catch Kempy in the red AMG, and he's following Mark and Dogs, but this isn't for positioning. They're a lap down on Mark and Dogs. And these drivers will be obviously looking forward to probably coming back to this racing next year. As this looks like it could be a position change very shortly with Highlander catching Woody. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep a screen on this battle because it looks like Highlander wants to get moving into position 3, showing his nose into turn 1. He's already turned his lights off. Here he goes, having a look down at Griffin's Bend. Just trying to make sure that Woody Lizard is aware that he's there now. I'm sure Woody would be well and truly aware as well. Now the Merc's pretty good up around the top of the mountain. It's just the straight of down Conrod. The McLaren will really extend its legs. So you can see Woody just starting to pull away a little bit over the top of the mountain here on the McLaren. But But then he's going to be vulnerable with a McLaren trying to latch onto his slipstream and get a toe down Conrod and see if he can try and duck it in on entry to the chase. We saw John Slow, an aggressive move on Alex Kay down into the chase a few laps ago, which resulted actually in, as we've seen, Alex making a little bit of a mistake on exit. Here goes Highlander down the inside. Has he got this move made? Yes, he does. Nice move, and he'll be able to get through that corner without running wide. So up into third for the McLaren. So we've got McLaren's 2 and 3 at the moment, with AMG in first and fourth. I believe it looks like it's Timmy82 who's actually retired at this stage of the race. And he's got suspension problems. He was back on lap 6 actually. He retired. So only the one retirement so far. So we've got 12 runners still. Now Alex Kay has been able to get in front of Hugo. So Hugo was in front of Alex, I think, from the pit stops. I'm not too sure if he's had a problem or not. Or maybe he didn't rejoin in front of Alex. It was maybe when there was a standings little problem when they were in the pit lane on their outlap before they reach sector 1, where all the timings go a little bit squiff. Oh, and he's battling this car. I wonder if he's had the correct tyre pressures all sorted, or is it just early on with the tyres not up to temperature yet? As he had this is the pole man, Hugo, and was leading a good part of the first part of the race through the early hours of the morning into sunrise until he made a little mistake. And Gunner's had the lead of the race since then. And he's looking very, very good. Very solid driving in the number 77 Asgardia Motorsports car. Every time he looks at his mirror when he's coming up Mountain Straight, he sees that black car of John Slow of the McLaren. There's Mark and Dogs. Quickly try and click on Mark and Dogs and see where he is. I'm pretty sure, as you can see, he is now caught the back of Cuckoo in the BMW. And he's starting to look very, very threatening indeed to get up into the top 6. Mark and Dogs qualified in 10th, so he'd be happy where he is at this stage in position 7. And seeing if he can continue on in this fashion. Last lap was a 2:06, so it was because Cuckoo made a mistake that previous lap at 2:13, so that's why Cuckoo has dropped away from Dado. Most of these drivers will be aiming for just the 2 pit stops if they can in this 2-hour 25-minute race. Oh, as Cuckoo has run very, very wide. And he rejoins the track. And it looks like he's going to do the right thing there and give up that position, as he could have dirty tyres as well. And if defending, could cause some dramas at the same time by locking a wheel or doing something like that. So just nice and easy. Settle back in. Settle in behind Mark and Dogs in that Nissan. And get his head back in the game here, Cuckoo. Long race. No use really trying to come back and defend that spot after you've made a little mistake. Better probably to actually just regroup again and be able to follow a car in front of you as well, without probably putting too much pressure, but just get back in, getting those lines. And then you avoid any sort of frustrations with other drivers as well. Mark and Dog's going to continue on his way. And then you might start finding a little bit of extra pace. See where your competitor's starting to have a bit of an issue himself, and see if you can attack 3 or 4 laps later, especially if you can keep pace with them. Oh, as Cuckoo's just running a little bit wide. Oh, and he's gone straight through here, taking the escape route. So things aren't quite right in that cockpit there of the BMW with Cuckoo. He's made a few little errors. Could it be that he's starting to look at maybe some strategy of pit stops? Still too early to pit, but maybe he's just realised that maybe tyre pressures aren't quite right. He might have had a different setup for a different tyre. I'll just pick up what is up with Kempy at the moment, as he's now coming actually into the pits for a pit stop. So this is unscheduled unless it's for some damage. So he's in, so that should probably give Dark Lord a position, as it does, as Dark Lord goes straight on by. So there wasn't that much between those two, so that's a shame. It could have been a little battle brewing for the two Mercedes. But the other battle that we've got here is this man, Highlander and Dado. So Dado's caught Highlander, and Woody Lizard is up into third. So Highlander's made a mistake, and it was that previous lap with a 2:12.944. So a little incident from Highlander, and that gifts Woody Lizard back into the third spot of this race. I hope you're enjoying the race replay from our Bathurst 12 hour that we had back here at the ANZCRL in March this year. And up comes the Unicorn. As I think I've just seen in the background there, Kempy. He's in the tyre barriers there at Hell Corner. So that's not a good sign. Hopefully he's trying to find his starter button or a reverse button or something like that, a reverse gear. But things don't look good for him at this stage. As you can hear, trying to fumble, get the gears. He's finally got the gears there. So off he goes again. So a moment for Kempy. He came into the pits as well. So was that from Exeter pit lane? We're not too sure. But this is a man he was going to be battling before with Dark Lord. So Dark Lord's now coming on up through. And he's now put a lap on his competitor Kempy. And we've got a couple of little battles here for 4th and 5th and also 6th and 7th. And Hugo's not too far away from Alex K either. They're lapping around the same times, 2:03.7 that previous lap. Oh, as Dark Lord just tags the wall on exit, and here we got a big drag fest for the Mercedes. Down Mountain Straight, down Conrod I should say. So there are a number of laps down, 3 laps down Kempy is at this stage. We're 2 laps down when it crosses the start-finish line here. As these two seem to be getting a little bit loose. See, even Dark Lord was up on the grass on exit. With Murray's, the final corner around this 6.2 kilometre circuit. It's time we have a look up front here and to see how Gunner's going, how he's faring on lap 22. And he's looking fairly strong. He's got John Slow slowly catching him every couple of laps. Oh, as he's gone wide, he's gone straight through the chase here on exit. And that's now opened up the door with John Slow. Look how much time John's been able to gain on that mistake from Gunner. So the lead of the race here is really hotting up now after that mistake from Gunner, 180. We're about 46 minutes into this race at this stage. Mark and Dogs has come into pit lane, so he's going to get on a fresh pair of boots and fill up the tanks of that Nissan. And resume his fight and wait for Cuckoo for when he's going to pit. He was in 6th position, Mark and Dogs. Dado Racer slowly catching. There's 2 seconds between Woody Lizard from Highlander and then another 2 seconds from Highlander to Dado. But this is starting to heat up now for the battle of this lead of this race. Since Gunner's had the lead of the race, he has not let it go. He's been strong. But now he's starting to come under attack from John Slow. This is where he made a mistake before, but he's got through here a lot better. There's not much difference on their lap times at all. Gunn was just a little bit faster than John Slow that previous lap. Be wanting to try and make his way past the hour mark if he can. He's got about 12 minutes remaining for that. Currently the track temperature is 39 degrees. 24 degrees outside. A beautiful day here in Bathurst for a race. Like any other day. And just check on Woody Lizard as he seems to be starting to have a little bit of a battle brewing with Highlander on his comeback trail. Not much that Highlander can do over the top of the mountain. Woody's been so solid over the top as they're starting to now just get into the back of the Unicorn, who's in position 10 at this stage. And that Porsche is pretty fast as well. Unicorn, it just pulls over to the side and lets these cars through. One McLaren to the next with John Slow challenging Gunner still, but as we've seen, the AMG's just worked so good around the top of the mountain that the McLarens have got their work cut out. Over the top, it's all about trying to hold on and just try and rope them in again before they get towards Forest Elbow, so then they can try and get their toe and their outright top speed shining before they hit the chase. And that's exactly what John's trying to do. He's got to try and be within a second though, just under a second I think for it to work. As you can just see there, he's just on that second time difference between him and Gunner on exit. But watch him start to reel him in here at the later part. The times just start to tumble. Actually, not so much there then. So maybe he's carrying a little bit of damage. A little bit of front end aero damage will affect the top end speed of these cars. And Hugo, only 4 seconds behind Alex, who's in 8th. So he's doing a good job. As we go up over the top of the mountain once more again. Let's see what John can do, if he can try and keep it within this second, under a second, by the time they start heading back down. Eight more minutes 7 more minutes actually before the hour mark. That'll leave the drivers with an hour, 25 minutes remaining. As the clouds just start to mist over here, and he's under this 1 second mark, so just under about half a second. Oh, but he's touched the wall on exit. That might cost him. Too many brushes against that wall is going to start causing a little bit of problems. See, he wants to get going, but that would have just cost him on that exit. So you have to try and wait to see again. But we have seen him pretty fast out of Hell Corner of turn 1. So this little part here, as in comes Gunner for a pit stop. So he surrenders the lead to John Slow. So he's pitting just under the hour mark. Now that should see Woody Lizard be able to come on through into position 2 and carry Highlander with him. As Highlander's trying to go that one little ball step, knowing that he's going to get a position with Gunner in pit lane. One for the record books if they can. Get a lap on the lead. As Woody's made a mistake out of Hell Corner after he's just taken 2nd position. That's given Highlander 2nd. Oh. As Gunner should be probably starting to make his way back out of pit lane. I think he's just moving now through pit lane as we speak. He's got Mark and Dogs just coming through the start-finish line now, so he should be able to clear Mark and Dogs. So yes, he has. So Mark and Dogs is behind Gunner. So he came out fairly safely there. He's actually in a very good spot to start putting in some good clean laps now. He's got no drivers in front of him, no lap cars. The next car in front will be Cuckoo, who's in 5th position. Cuckoo's yet to stop as well in that BMW. He was just behind Mark and Dogs. And Mark had an earlier pit stop in the Nissan. But when will John Slow actually come into pit lane? So he's going around again. We'll have a look at obviously Alex Casey, how he's faring. And he doesn't look like he's faring too well, but as we have seen before, that was from that damage that he had racing with John Slow, and he found himself into the wall heavily. That actually threw the car in the air as well, just near the bridge up here, the overhead bridge. Basically coming through here, he basically exits stage right and straight into the wall. You can see the scuff marks there on the wall right next to the bridge, and he came straight into the pits. It looks like he may have had some further damage. And maybe not though. He did a 204.375, so that's pretty handy. pretty quick, but Hugo with a 2:03.938, not too far off John Slow, who's done a 2:03.8. So remember, the lap record around here is from last year with Fish Racing 3, did a 2:04.349, so we've already toppled that. With John Slow just doing a 2:03.666. He is absolutely flying in this McLaren on lap 29. Just nudging the 1 hour mark. 59 minutes into this race. So the big one that we've got to have a look at is to see what time Gunner's going to be doing. He's been on his out lap with a 3:04. So we'll have to see what he does the next lap around. See if he's losing ground here, because John Slow could actually do the overcut by staying out and knocking in these fast times. The Gunner did a 2:04.742. And in front of Cuckoo as well. So Cuckoo's made a mistake. I think Cuckoo's actually been in the pit, so he's come out. And I think he's just in front of Mark and Dogs. And we'll see if John decides to pit this time around. No, he's electing to stay out. He looked like he was thinking about it. And he's staying out. A 2:03.220. No, he wasn't thinking about going to have a pit stop. He has absolutely got the fastest lap of the race at this stage. A sensational time of 2:03.220. Fuel tank's starting to run low, but just remember his tyre wears is not like a fresh set of tyres here, so that's a fairly sensational lap. Did see the 2:02.6 for the pole time. So there's a lot more pace when you're in quali trim compared to race trim. Really does give a good indication here at ANZCRL with our lap times based on race pace. It's a better understanding other than hot lapping. And look at this now, Hugo on the back of Alex, battling here for 7th position. And we've got Mark and Dogs only 8 seconds up the road, just less than 8 seconds actually, up the road. So these guys are starting to bring themselves into contention as well, because Mark and Dogs pitted early, as did all these guys. These guys were in before Mark and Dogs. So really, this is all for position. As in comes Alex actually for pit stop, so that's going to drop him down the order. But we've got Hugo now up into 7th, and he's flying at the moment, 2:04.0. Second fastest car. Oh, just as we said that he was doing so well, he's looped it around Hell Corner, turn 1, so that's going to cost him probably a position with his battle with Alex K. He done all the hard work to catch Alex. He had a deficit of around about 10 seconds when he came out of his pit stop, and he's pulled that in, and then he's just thrown it away with that mistake. Just shows just a simple spin how much it can cost you in the terms of things. Keeping it nice and steady probably wins out in the end. So welcome on board here with Dado Racer in the Porsches. He's now chasing down Woody Lizard in the number 60 Mercedes. Woody's been doing good for the Genova racing team. Currently third. Hey, Mr. Dark. Welcome aboard. And we're riding Dado's Porsche, the number 82 Fanatec Racing, Porsche 911, as he's just run wide coming through the cutting. It's all about the flow up here at the top of the mountain. It's almost 100% throttle input. Probably the average up around the top there before they come down through Skyline is around about 90% full throttle. They only lift through Breed Park a little bit under the tree, the dip, the grate. Oh, Dado, we're on board. Causing a few dramas. The Limelight catching up with him as he had caught Woody Lizard. He's still in contention, and we're just still waiting to find out when these guys elect to pit. So a 203.3, so he's still faster than Garner at the moment, John Slow. So obviously he'll probably just be running this until his fuel is almost done. So they've gone on over the hour mark, hour and a 5, so an hour 20 remaining of this race. It's not quite halfway yet. Nothing like a good endurance race, really tests your nerve. Very mentally draining as Kempy. Let's just try and have a look to see what's he doing. He's not too far away from the Unicorn in the Porsche. So we'll keep another little eye on this, but we just want to go back up to the battle here with Woody Lizard and Dado because it's starting to heat up. So effectively, I think Woody Lizard would be around about, Highlander would be 4th, I think, and Woody Lizard in 5th. We're still waiting for Gunner, obviously, to come on through. He's already pitted earlier. So they're actually probably just, Highlander's actually just up, will be effectively 3rd position, because Gunner, we think, will come back out 2nd with John Slow with his faster times. As we can see, Gunner's just done a 203.960 that lap around, so as he's a battle for 10th position to be in the top 10. Can Kempy get into the top 10? He's putting a lot of pressure on this Porsche. He's a faster car at the moment than the Unicorn. You can see the Unicorn's previous lap was a 211, Kempy at 207. So Kempy just has to bide his time. He probably will get him down Conrod. Porsche's fairly quick though if it gets a good exit. And the Porsche seems to be extending its legs down this long Conrod straight. Comes the brute brunt force of the AMG as in comes the Unicorn. Robs us of a battle again as they decides to come into the pit lane. And look at this. Highlander's had a mistake. So Highlander's had a mistake. Now he was clearly out in second position, but now Woody Lizard has been able to catch. This is a three-way battle for the second position. And all these guys will be teeing up for when they're going to pit in. They'll be pitting very shortly. But they're running hard, these three drivers. All roughly the same time. 204.8 for Highlander, 204.9 for Woody, 204.8 for Dado. There's nothing separating these guys. John Slow now is in the 205, so he needs to start thinking about pitting. As Gunner's in the 203.4. He's had 2 laps now in the 203s. So he's starting to catch John now. So when John goes for his pit stop, if he stays out for too long, that time that he's gained on John, and in comes Highlander. So Highlander's come into pit lane now for his stop. So that gives Woody Lizard second position. But runs wide again. This is what happened to him last time as he got second position. He ran wide into the first corner. He's done it again. Now Dado's in second position. Just doesn't look like Woody wants to be in second position at all in this race. Every time he's had it, he's thrown it away with the next corner. So Dado, welcome up into second position. And one would think if Alex Kay hadn't had that mistake that he had with John Slow, you'd probably think that the two Porsches would almost be together, with maybe Alex in front of Dado at this stage, in between him and John Slow. So some costly mistakes. This is what will bring back many drivers again next year to challenge the mountain. See if they can go one better, improve on their result. The race is far from over though. And on the radars we can see the storm clouds brewing out to the west, where most of the weather seems to come through. So it'll come in probably from over the top of the mountain. All teams will be keeping an eye on this weather. Had some nice early morning clear skies, and the clouds have been brewing after lunchtime. Remember times five time progression. So we've seen at least half of about 6 hours of this race already completed in game time. So it should actually be around about 11 AM actually, because the race start time was 4 o'clock in the morning, just to get that little bit of extra laps in the dark. So we know normally the race will start normally around about 6 o'clock, I think it is. Or 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock I think the race start is. I think if Darky's still watching, he'll correct me when the race start time of the Bathurst 12 hour does actually start in real life. It's around that time, maybe 5:30 or something, around there. As Mark and Dogs now takes his pit stop, so this will be interesting to see where he ends up. Compared to Cuckoo, because he was challenging Cuckoo early on. So Cuckoo at this stage is coming down Conrod Straight, and he's got Dark Lord just behind him, a lap down on himself, as John Slow is also into pit lane, so he's come in now. And we'll keep an eye on Cuckoo to see if he comes out in front of Mark and Dogs. Geez, his car looks second rate at the moment. Cuckoo's visited the wall a couple of times in his stint, so it'll be interesting. This Marking Dogs is out of pit lane, so he has been able to, and he's just pulled in behind Alex Kay, so he's doing a good job. Now he can try and see if he can latch onto the back of Alex. So they're on a roughly similar strategy as Woody Lizard is in pit lane as well. So you can see John Slow's already in the lane. And Dado's pulling up for his stop, as is Woody Lizard, who officially takes the lead of the race, only if it's in pit lane. And he's there getting his tyres and fuels done as John Slow now comes out. And Gunner's already gone through, I think, if the graphic is right. Yes, he has. So he's already up Mountain Straight. So he has gained a lot of time actually on John Slow. So maybe his stop was only very short. Obviously wouldn't have needed as much fuel as what John would have had to put in then. So John's lost out a lot. He was actually only just behind Gunner when he went into the pits, and John Slow was putting in those quick lap times. Maybe John didn't put new tyres on. That 17 seconds rings a bell of maybe he's double sitting these tyres. Maybe he just put some fuel in. So good strategy call from the Mercedes team for Gunner. He resumes the lead of this race. Hugo up into third position. The pole sitter. But he's out of sync of all the other drivers at the moment, so he'll be hoping to see if he can limit that earlier pit stop he had for damage, and see if he can extend this stint that he's got with the threat of rain, and it might neutralise everyone, as everyone would have to come into pits for wet tyres then. The only difference will be the time it will take for fuel, depending, because he'd be fairly low. But there's still a fair way to go. These storm clouds are only just starting to brew on the radar. There's a Dark Lord is now in pit lane. Oh, Hugo. Another little mistake from him. And he's on that slippery grass, the AMS2 grass. And he's trying to get, and look at Woody Lizard now. Woody Lizard's coming on through. He has gained all that time, and Woody's having a look. He had thought about it for a minute. So we've got some good AMGs up representing here at Bathurst 12 Hour. We've got Gunner in the lead in the AMG. With then Hugo, as we were looking here, in the Velocity 9 car in third position. And just behind him, fourth, is Woody Lizard in the number 60 Genova Racing AMG. Now Woody's just come out of the pit lane as well with fresh tyres and fuel. Hugo would be on second rate tyres, and with that spin too wouldn't have helped his case, his cause. And another good battle going on at the moment is, if we're right with our timing, not so much with our timing. Dado thought was a little bit closer than that, but 3 seconds. So we'll go back to this battle here with Hugo in third. Woody Lizard just behind him. Woody pushing very hard as he comes through McPhillamy Park. Up on the outside curve. He was lucky to hold on to that, and he looks like he's just gone a little bit wide to carry that speed into the dipper. So just pushing a little bit too hard. Got the carrots dangling in front of him with Hugo. The drivers are slowly getting into the stage of the race where it's definitely halfway now and getting to the point where there'll be only an hour left of the race. That would be in about 5 minutes' time. So a couple more laps and the drivers will see that countdown on their dash will be down into the 60-minute mark. And this is where all the drivers need to start thinking now. Reassess where they are, their position. And how their race goes. Oh, Highland has a big moment. And that's into the turn one. We've seen a few cars go off there. We saw Kempy actually in the barriers earlier on in the Mercedes, and it took him forever to try and find reverse gear. And look who's lurking behind Highlander. It is Alex K. These cameras need a bit of a work on AMS too. It's Alex K. So he's now finding the form that we've known from him with a 204.3 that previous lap as well. Don't forget that Alex was second on the grid alongside Hugo, but missed the formation a little bit on Hugo. It gave Hugo a clear run into turn one. And then he had to defend hard, Alex K, with the battle of John Slow and Gunner behind him. So he's cleared away from Mark and Dogs, because Mark and Dogs wasn't too far from Alex when he came out of the pits. I think it's about time that we may go on board. And see, we might go on board Dark Lord actually. Let's go and have a go on board here with Dark Lord, with a car that seems like an electric Mercedes more than the big rumble of the V8. A little bit of an audio glitch there, sorry guys. Take away a bit of the experience of a lap around here. And maybe it might pick up after here over the start of the line. No, it doesn't. That's a bit annoying. We may go off that. We'll just see if we can maybe pick up and see if it's any different for who we were originally going to go with Cuckoo. The BMW. So this sounds a little bit better. You know, you get on the cockpit there. Look at the nice dash of the BMW. You can see the race logic time of 82 minutes. So we're getting closer to that hour remaining. Once it goes to 85 minutes. There's an hour remaining. Oh, a little glance of the wall. This is why Cuckoo's front of his car's looking a little bit second rate. It's a car that I'm thinking about maybe giving it a go next year for this race. The BMW. The AMG Mercedes was a very fun car to drive around here at Mount Panorama. And we look forward to seeing a bigger grid next year we pretty much doubled our field from 2022 to this year, as this was our first special event that we ran in 2022 on AMS2. And for that actual race, oh, and there's the Campy, I think it is. Off the side there. But back in last year's event that we did, we only had, we actually had eight cars join the race, which was good, but 7 finished. So it wasn't too bad, and this year we had the 13 entries. So hopefully we can build on those numbers next year and make it more enjoyable for everyone involved. More cars, the more enjoyment, the more battles you have on track as well. And there was a lap around on that with that BMW. So let's, so you can see the damage of that BMW. Not looking pretty. So a lot of the cars have all spaced out now. Gunner, we'll have a look at him as window wipers are going on his car. So maybe there's a few raindrops out there at this stage of the race as we're just hitting the hour to go mark. So can't really see much rain physically out there on circuit. So maybe he's had just a few little drops trying to clear that windscreen. So there'll be some drivers, some spectators out there starting to get their ponchos on. If this weather is coming up over from the back of the mountain here. John Slow hasn't got any wipers on at this stage. Actually, there's a bit of wiper action starting to go on the car. Let's just have a little look just to see. No, it doesn't look like there's any rain there at the moment. Maybe they're just setting to make sure their wipers are working, because we do know that the rain is definitely on its way. So this is going to spice up a few things of this race, of this 2-hour 25-minute race. We've got just under an hour remaining. As the unicorns come into pit lane in the BMW, in the Porsche. So we're trying to have a look to see where there might be some battles. Highlanders trying to hold off actually Alex K here at the moment. So, and they've got their wipers on too. So maybe there is a little bit of rain falling already at the top of the mountain. And when they come down, there's no rain here, as we say. Rain does normally come from the top of the mountain. You can see the sun's still out down here. So Highland is trying to hold on to this 6th place from Alex. Oh, Alex out on the grass. He's gone. Big moment from Alex. Oh, and he's collected Highlander on his way back through. Massive little shut there from Alex K. And with that little bit of rain that may be falling, maybe... Oh, and he's almost rejoined right in front of Mark and Dogs. This is getting a little bit like your dog. Unbelievable moment there from Alex K. He's had a brain explosion. And he hasn't been enjoying the chase one bit. That's his 2nd incident at the chase. Wow. We only just crossed over to see those guys then. Big moment. I think I may have just heard a little bit of rumble in the background, some bit of thunder. So this probably came just at the right time from Alex. He can probably get those wet tyres on, but maybe a bit too early for wets. Hugo in third position in this Mercedes. 5 seconds in front of Woody Lizard, who's in fourth. So the question is, we better have a look at Highlander. Has he got damage in the back of that car after getting tagged? We'll try and see if we can see with the cameras. It doesn't look so. He might have just been lucky to get away with that. So he's going to almost fall a lap down. He's just come out of the pit lane now, Alex. So that was a lucky escape for Highlander. He could have seen the end of his race there with Alex Case coming through and across the chase out of control, as he just dipped his wheels on the grass there when he was about to hit the brakes, which threw him sideways. Not a place that you want to be dumping your wheels as Highlander comes in. So we can't really see much rain out on our screens at the moment, but definitely there's some rain starting to happen for these drivers, as Dado's also in pit lane. But up front, we've got the electric Mercedes going again. John Slow, so there's definitely some moisture. So will we see John Slow come into the pit lane? Gunner's gone in, so he has gone in. And he's staying out, so John decides that conditions are still okay for him. And he turns the wipers off, so, and then back on. So it's like it's not quite raining down the bottom here, but up the top obviously it is. So John Slow takes the lead of this race as Hugo now. He's not pitting yet, so he's going to stay out. Will he get second position from Gunner? Yes, because Gunner's still in pit lane. He's just moving now, so he should be able to get him on exit. As you can see, both Highlander and Gunner. So Highlander's actually, I think, jumped Gunner. Is that right? Let's just try and find out who's just in front of Gunner. Highlander, who's obviously, no, it's not Highlander. I'm a little bit confused, sorry guys, who the car in front of Gunner is. So that's a little bit strange, actually. I thought that car was actually Highlander's car, but it's not. Dark Lord, I believe, is in a Mercedes. Anyway, it's definitely getting wet out there now. See the moisture on the circuit. It's a wonder that we haven't got actually the rain showing on our screens on this replay. It's taking away a little bit of the effect, but obviously it's going to make it nice and clear for us to be able to watch the action. There's Woody Lizard now, looks like he'll be visiting pit lane. As in comes Highlander. And Woody goes up into third position. So it's definitely raining out there, guys. If rewatching this replay, just not happening on our screen, which is a little bit different to what we would normally expect to see. Woody's extending his time here on slicks. You can see now he's struggling to get power with this wet tarmac. Yeah, you can definitely see the rain, the water on the track, but just not the actual rain dropping. So, just hasn't come back through on the replay. But hey, it makes it a lot easier to see. But Woody's still stuck out on slicks and struggling big time. So he's gone one lap too long. And will we see John Slow? I think he may have already pitted. But we're expecting to see Woody Lizard in this time around. Tiptoeing around this last part of the lap. Make sure he'll be in the pit lane this time around. So we'll see if he can get out in front of Hugo. Hugo was third before the rain. So yeah, that was John Slow's actual out lap there. So he's actually now in first position still. So he's taken the position from Gunner. As Cuckoo's just pulled off to the side to let these drivers through. But he's going to start getting going just as Gunner probably comes up to him. Oh, and there's a... Mark and Dogs is losing his... I'm trying to find where Mark and Dogs is. He's got the Nissan spoiler everywhere. And that's the spectators' collectible right there on the circuit. Oh, you can just see with no rear wing. It's a nightmare out there. He's going to struggle to get out there. I think he's still on slicks. It looks like he is on slicks there. So he's struggling here to get back going. That's going to be a hard run now for him to get back to pit lane. He was going so well in fourth position. Oh, he's gone again. But magically his wing reappeared. So there's a little bit going on with our displays with this replay. Not showing up everything as it was, but here's Hugo. And Markin Dogs has actually gone back into the pit lane quickly, so he's retired. Completed only 44 laps with that damage. So a quick trip back into pit lane. Hugo's doing a good job in 4th position, chasing down Woody Lizard, who's just up the road. 5 seconds. The Highlander's found himself a lap down. So we've missed whatever happened to Highlander before a lap down. So he's in 6th position, in between on track here Woody Lizard and Hugo. And he had some pace throughout the race, Highlander. And obviously something went wrong when it rained and we didn't catch it. I'd say that he's actually probably had a big spin or some moment and then had to get some damage repaired. As that spray is pretty intense there now. Hugo doesn't want to get caught behind Highlander too long here up around the top because he wants to get going. He's got Woody Lizard in his sights. So about 45 minutes remaining of this race. And it's wet here at Bathurst. The afternoon storm has finally taken hold of this track. So he's cleared Highlander now, Hugo. Hasn't lost too much time on Woody. Woody's still only 2 seconds up, so it was when we first started looking at this battle about 5 seconds. And Woody's obviously struggling here in the wet. Hugo's like a duck to water here. Loving the conditions. The Velocity 9 Mercedes AMG. He's going to see if he can get Woody Lizard early on in this next lap, lap 48. Now 41 into the race, and he's got the inside line coming up into Griffin's bend. Woody just lets him go. Woody knows that he's just not comfortable in these wet conditions and happy to let him go. So Woody Lizard looks like his mission is to see if he can hold on to 4th from Dado Racer, who's behind him not too far. So where's Dado compared to Woody? About 13 seconds. And when we look to see the lap times, he's just a little bit slower than Woody at the moment, Dado. So he's just got to try and find that extra time if he can. You can hardly see Dado's car. The black Porsche onto the black tarmac absolutely soaks this track. Market Dogs is gone, so we've actually got the Unicorn still running around as well in the Porsche, and Dark Lord is still running as well. But they've got to get a few extra laps there, so they should jump up in front of Market Dogs the next lap around. If Dark Lord is still going in the number 85. Endor Brain Factory Racing Team. And he's just got John Slow now, the leader of the race, just coming up behind him. And you should see that, as John has slid straight into the wall as he's trying to get an exit. And John Slow easily gets that past the lap traffic of Dark Lord. And he's about to commence lap 50 of this race. A sodden track here at Bathurst. What would Bathurst be without an afternoon rainstorm? Here, all the drivers at ANZCRL challenge themselves and they're lapping it up. And it looks like this is going to be a very good battle. Nice sunny day. You want a nice sunny day definitely when you're at Bathurst as a spectator. But a bit of water always adds to some action. And it looks like Gunner's actually been able to get through a lot quicker on that lap traffic and gained quite a bit of time actually on John Slow. A good shot here as they come through the cutting. So Hugo's pulling away. Hugo's the fastest man out on the circuit in the wet with a 2:14.545 that previous lap. So some stunning pace from Hugo. Faster than these leaders at this stage. So will Gunner try and challenge at this stage of the race, or is he just going to be happy just to keep this margin just a little bit back away from the spray from John and wait for later on in this race to attack? Getting into the part where there's only about 40 minutes remaining of this race. There's still plenty of time. But let's just go on cockpit view here. We don't have actually the rain showing on the screen, but you can just see a bit of that spray. And it wouldn't be so that easy to pick your lines going around here at all. It's a shame we haven't got the rain effect coming on this replay at the same time as well. It may have been lost over the period of time. This race was done way back in March this year. It's been sitting there ready for me to do the race replay. And I'd say that the rain just hasn't loaded up properly. I've never come across that. So it usually comes up and gets shown very well with the rain. As we can see, we've also got audio glitches going on as well on board. But what a view that is, going up over the top of the mountain through McPhillamy. Oh, it's gonna visit the wall on exit of Forest Elbow. I think nearly every car has touched that wall in this race now. Less than a second for the lead of this race. It's John Slow this time, the leader of the race, and we've got Gunner being the chaser, the attacker. Not quite making the move yet. My prediction of Gunner just holding back has been put to bed. He's definitely attacking to take the lead of the race. We just got under 40 minutes remaining of this 2 hour 25 minute race, simulating the full 12 hours with ×5 time progression. The famous Bathurst 12 hour, Australia's only endurance race. Called the Bathurst 1000 an endurance race, 1,000 kilometres over 6 hours with a V8 supercars, but as most of the drivers say these days, that's just an extended sprint race. But it definitely is an endurance race as well, the 1000. Then we got the Bathurst 6 hour, but this is the world event that we have, part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. It's good to see all the overseas teams coming out to this event at the start of the year, each year. Obviously the interruption with COVID caused a bit of a drama, but it looks like it's going to be a great race in 2024. Oh, as John Slade's just run a little bit sideways coming into the entry of the braking area for the Forest Elbow, as they're just coming up to the back of Cuckoo. So who would have thought after about an hour and a half worth of racing, we've still got this battle for the lead between John Slow and Gunner 8 180. And Hugo's lapping around the same sort of times, but he's a minute off the lead pack. Woody Lizard is only a further 15 seconds behind Hugo, and he's maintaining the gap between himself and Dado Racer at this stage, but just dropping as they're finding it hard to even break the 220 lap times at this stage in the wet. But look at Gunner now go. He's right on the slipstream, seeing if he can dip down on the inside here of Griffin's Bend. They'd have their traction control right up to the max here. ABS to the max as well. This track around Bathurst at the moment is absolutely saturated. What a run we've got here for the lead of this race. How much more pressure can John put up with here with a big yellow Mercedes hounding the back of his McLaren? Just over 30 minutes remaining of this race now. It's getting to the pointy end of the race. And nothing separating these guys. They've been in touch with one another throughout the whole race, basically for 1 hour 50 minutes. They've had sight of one another for the whole time at different distances, but this is unbelievable. It's been John Slow seeing the back of the Mercedes for most of the race, but this time it's John has got the lead of the race through this wet part of this race. And these drivers are absolutely putting in a great performance. The second running of the Bathurst 12 Hour on Automobilista 2, ANZCRL Combined Racing League. And these conditions are not for the faint-hearted. Definitely, you got to be with it the whole time around the lap. Oh, as Gunner runs wide. Tags the wall. Now, has that caused any damage to the rear wing of his car? That's the question. He was right in the wall towards McPhillamy Park there, and we just don't know how. It didn't look a very hard hit, but maybe enough to cause a little bit of damage. And they have also tagged the exit wall of Forest Elbow a couple of times, so they'll be having to keep an eye on that for Gunner, because there'd be a lot of stress on those rear wings as well. Oh, there's a car spinning out in front of them. I think it may have been Kempy. I'm not 100% sure. Yes, it was. It's the red Mercedes, and he's wingless. So you'd be expecting him to go into pit lane. Yes, he does. Alex Kay's been doing not too bad at lap times as well in the 2:02.17s in the Porsche. And he is 32 seconds behind Cuckoo, who's driving that BMW in front of him. And look at the water starting to pool up across the braking area into the chase as well. We'll try and pick that up next time around. Throttle input is so important at this stage as well. The track's getting wetter and wetter as we go. We've had a massive thunderstorm come on through at Bathurst, and this is what it's left us, a really wet track. We'll stay on this view for when we come down and just have a look, take note of the left hand side of the braking area when we get up into the chase. You'll see what I was talking about, a big pool of water. So it's going to basically limit the driver's ability to try and take an overtaking manoeuvre into the chase. Look at those puddles in there now. They're just starting to grow. So it's basically made that a one lane part of the circuit as John Slow is going defensive. You can see the lightning coming off the track surface. what tough conditions these guys have got in front of them here at this moment. So Hugo's just managing that 1 minute behind these guys. He's probably hoping to see that Gunner has a little bit of a move and maybe has these guys have a little bit of a incident, bring him back into this race. Hugo's had his own problems. But we're just hitting the 2 hour mark of this race with 25 minutes remaining. And these drivers are definitely earning their keep here today. Look how dark it's gotten in the late afternoon here at Bathurst as well. This storm has definitely come over. We had a beautiful day during the first half of this race. Oh, as there goes Gunner again. That's surely going to put some worries on the mechanics in pit lane. Is Gunner's throwing this race away. He's led the race majority of the distance. The positions changed in the wet. John Slade took the lead of the race. But Gunner has been touching that wall, that right-hand side of that car. Oh, is that Gunner off at the moment, or is he back on? No, he's back on, but he's lost some time. He's obviously had a little bit of a moment out of the chase. And that wing has copped a couple of beatings across the wall. I'm sure that they'll be monitoring that, making sure that there's nothing wrong with the wing. They're going to keep him going. It looks fairly stable at the moment, but obviously tagging the wall and collecting that wing, touching that wing can cause some problems with the mounts, and you don't want to lose the wings. We've already seen 3 cars losing their wings. The last one was Kempy. We saw Mark and Dogs lose his wing in the Nissan, which put him into retirement, because he was still caught out on slicks when the wet weather come up the top of the mountain and he couldn't get going again. Had to get towed back to the pits, so he retired on lap 44. But we just have a little look here, back here at the Unicorn. He's now got a little battle with Dark Lord, who's come back, and within 22 seconds now of the Unicorn. So the Unicorn's been doing a steady race. He's been in the top 10 most of the race in the Porsche. But he's struggling here in the wet. He isn't very comfortable one little bit here at the moment. And while he's driving this slow, Dark Lord is just catching it at a rate of knots. So wonder how long it's going to be until we see this man on the back of the Unicorn battling for a 10th spot. But back up front, this battle is still going strong. It's a shame we don't have the visuals as well of the thunderstorm that was happening at this time of the race as well, with the lightning. It was pretty spectacular. It just hasn't come through on this race replay. But we're still enjoying this battle for the lead of the race between John Slow and Gunner. That's McLaren versus Mercedes-Benz. The AMG of Gunner. Hugo with a 2:16, and this wet track is an absolutely sensational time, and he's got it within a minute now of these leaders. So he'd have to hope for a little bit of a problem for the leaders for him to have any say in this race though, but he's doing a stellar job in third position. We watch this battle for the lead of the race. Oh, as Gunner again smacks the side of the wall on the exit of Forest Elbow. Now, will this be a telling factor late in the race? We don't know. He's going to have to come in for any sort of damage repair. Any pit stop now will surely put him into third position, and Hugo up into second. So he's going to have to try and make sure he stays out. He's very strong under the brakes into the chase. Oh, the cameras. Work on the cameras, AMS2 would be great. So here we go. There's lap traffic up in front for these guys going up Mountain Straight. And they may reach him up over the top of the mountain as well. So could get interesting here. I'm worried about the condition of this Mercedes for Gunner if he can keep this up. Even a puddle starting to build up there at Reed Park as well. They haven't had to contend with that lap traffic yet, so they should be able to catch them down Conrod, which will be a blessing for John Slow. Using every bit of the circuit is Gunner. This time he doesn't touch the wall. The lap traffic is actually doing a pretty good job. They're still keeping a gap. Oh, big dive here from Gunner. He sees that water, knows he can't get down the inside, but he was still trying to get it back into the inside by having a late dive after he passed the pool of water. So he's trying every little thing at the moment. As in goes Cuckoo for probably damage to that BMW. But he's fairly safe in 8th position. He's got quite a margin on Kempy, who's a number of laps down. But look at the battle here. We'll come up to, as they're going up for a battle for the lead. But these ones here, the Unicorn and Dark Lord. As the Unicorn runs wide. So that's going to give the position to Dark Lord. The Dark Lord's up into the 10. So good job by Dark Lord. Can he keep it there? Oh, they're pushing to the limits there. I thought John Slow was going to go into the wall. Right on the limit here with his slick track. These drivers have been in the 17 for quite a while now. They're comfortable with that pace with this wet weather. Everyone else is... everyone's starting to get into the 20s, so the track might be starting to dry out just a little bit, even though it doesn't look that way. Or the tyres are just... there's a bit of a groove happening where the cars have been going, just taking the water away a little bit. Most of the top 7 there were all within under the 220s. I'm sure Alex Kay would like to have his race done again in T Racing in 7th position. Because look at that pace, 2:17.9 in his Porsche. He's definitely could have been mixing it with the top 3. But look at Gunner Hound in the back of this McLaren of John Slow. Nerves of steel from Mr. Slow at the moment. And we got 15 minutes remaining of this race, guys. And 0.3 of a second, the margin. What a sensational run this has been from John Slow and Gunner. Who would have thought after 2 hours of racing it will still be neck and neck? And we've had all the conditions. We had the morning, we had the sunrise, clear skies all through majority of the race, and then this late thunderstorm that's come through and saturated the track. And the drivers have had to contend with this. Oh, pushing the limits, John Slow out on the outer curb through McPhillamy. And the Mercedes, we know the Merc has been so strong over the top of the mountain. That's been the weak point of the McLaren. The McLaren loves the straights, but I don't think it can pull away as good as what it has done with this wet weather down the straights. As again, we've seen the sparks fly from Gunner. So that's about the 5th time he's been in the wall on the exit of Forest Elbow. Something's going to have to give on that Mercedes if he keeps that up. Oh, what's going on here with big moment from Gunner. He got all crossed up and you've seen him actually get into the puddle as John Slow's trying to get himself together. Where is Gunner? Is he going to find himself in pit lane at all with this? This is exactly what Hugo wanted. Will they come into pit lane? John's thinking about it. No, he's not. What's going on here? John's led him through. No, they're going on. For a minute there, I thought John Slow was going into pit lane. This is exactly what this man here, Hugo, would love to have seen, as he now could be in contention for this race if there's any extra damage from these drivers. If they have to come into pit lane this next lap around, they'll be evaluating their cars on their way up Mountain Straight here. So John Slow has still got the lead of this race with 12 minutes remaining. It can't get much closer. The excitement is building, and Hugo almost had his wishes all come together as Gunner clipped that puddle of water as he was braking into the chase. Looked like he did what Alex Kay done. He was actually on the grass on the outside when he started to brake, and the car got loose on him. And he was so lucky not to end up in more damage than what he's got. And John Slow, who got tagged as well, is still going strong. But is this going to slow these two cars down and Hugo slowly get closer and closer to them? I think time will run out for Hugo. It looks like these cars are okay. It doesn't look like they're going to have to pit. Seems like they're moving around the circuit, around this track not too bad. They're not crabbing or doing anything crazy. The questions will have to be asked about Gunner's aero at this stage. He's had so many knocks on that rear wing. Touches of the wall. Now that's a lot straighter than what we saw previous lap, where he was sideways. So is it? No, he's not. I thought for a minute there, my heart went. Then I thought John was taking pit lane. So 2 hours and 15 minutes of running, 10 minutes to go. And less than a second for the lead of the race. And that lap when they've recovered, they were 1 second slower than what they have been doing. So not too much damage occurred, but probably a little bit. But obviously, Hugo would need a lot more for him to get back into contention for this race. Dark Lord has extended his lead from the Unicorn to almost 30 seconds there in the 10th position, as John Slow has a difficult time through the cutting. And you've got to give it to these drivers too. They can hardly see through this spray, especially for Gunner. To drive so consistently over across the mountain like they have has been unbelievable. Oh, the lines that Gunner take are a little bit worrisome sometimes. But obviously that spray is affecting the way that he can pick his lines as well. So it's all about muscle memory basically. As Darklord has pitted. So Darklord has had to pit, so that's given the Unicorn 10th position. And now he's 10 seconds if the timing's right behind the Unicorn. Oh, again, Gunner's got crossed up there into the braking area of the chase. His car is on edge. I definitely think that he has got damage with that rear wing, because he's struggling to break through there at the chase. So it just could be just how the car is. He's been like that for quite a while. You have to think that some of his aero has been damaged. And John Slow just had a rare 1 second lead over Gunner. That's strange to hear that. Can't believe that these guys have been less than a minute, less than a second I should say, sorry, during these wet weather running from one another. It has been intense. As now it looks like we've got the sun starting to come out. After this wild storm is passing on through. Oh, sideways action by Gunner out of the cutting. Talk about sweaty palms as he's gone again, tagging the wall on the way through McPhillamy, and they're running wild now with less than 10 minutes remaining. These drivers are on edge the last 8 minutes. Stick with us, guys. We haven't got much long to go. It's been a fantastic race. We've had battles through the midfield. when the wet weather comes, it sort of spread everyone out. Other than these two in the lead, they have not been separated more than a second for one lap, basically. Once they got together, that's been it. Hugo's done a 2:20 that previous lap, so he's obviously had a little bit of an issue. I think he understands that that third position is his as long as he just keeps it straight on the track. He's got a good margin over Woody Lizard, who's been strong for this race in 4th position. So we've got a Mercedes, we got a McLaren first, we've got a Mercedes second, a Mercedes third, Mercedes 4th. Then we've got a Porsche in 5th. We have a McLaren in 6th, another Porsche in 7th. We have the BMW of Cuckoo in 8th, the Mercedes of Kempy in 9th, the Porsche of Unicorn in 10th, and then the last of the runners at the moment, Dark Lord, in another AMG Mercedes. So the Mercedes were well and truly represented here for the 2023 running of the Bathurst 12 hour here on AMS2 with ANZCRL. Your place for Australia, New Zealand sim races. Get amongst it, guys. Run regularly on Sunday nights with special events like these throughout the year. Oh, Gunner's lost his wing. So that he's finally lost his wing. He's tagged that wall again, and a big broadside slide. There it goes around McPhillamy. Wow. Now Hugo, where's Hugo going to be in all of this? So with 5 minutes remaining, Gunner, and the sun's coming out, he's lost his wing. And he's going to be lucky to get down through the mountain here without having another incident. So the battle has come to an end here on lap 65 with 5 minutes remaining of this race. Gunner's rear wing finally said enough is enough, has departed his car. And as he's turned in at McPhillamy, the rear end has let go. And now he's going to come down. He's going to have to be careful coming into the chase here. The wing automatically reappears again. Beautiful AMS2 graphics. But think that wing's not even there as he's trying to pull it up. And he is in a lot of hurt here. Now the choice is his. Will he be in pit lane here for the repair? He will lose second position. You can see the headlights of Hugo, I think it was, in the background. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Hugo. So Hugo's just coming onto Conrod now. So we're nearing the end of this race. We've got 3 minutes remaining. And Hugo's on a charge here to try and see. He's got 30 seconds between him and Gunner's a wounded car. Oh, that looks like it's been around the blocks, that one. He's struggling big time, so yeah, maybe he's got still a little bit of his wing left there, but it did look like it come off. And the sun now is out, shining away. And this is where it all unraveled. He touched that wall up there, and as he turned in, he had no grip whatsoever. But here we go, on board with John Slow. And what would think that he may get this lap and one more. Actually, no, it won't. This will be the last lap. He will take the last lap board. with only 1 minute remaining on the timer. So this will be the last lap. And he's just coming up to Dado Racer in the Porsche. And as you can see, those storm clouds are still lingering around, but the sun's starting to pop up as well. The late afternoon sun. So we're on board John Slow in the number 94 Centrifugal Racing Team McLaren 720S GT3. Those storm clouds, it was a ripper of a storm. There's nothing taken away from this man, John Slow. He's just got to get over the top of the mountain. He's on the last lap, lap 67. He's got a nice healthy margin now, 24-second of Gunner, who's still holding on to second position. There's Dado Racer up amongst, I think he's just behind Dark Lord in the Mercedes. Actually, it's all going on for the lower battles of between Dark Lord and the Unicorn. They're actually going for top 10, the 10th position there. But had to give it up. As there goes another wing, a Fenatech win. And I think that is actually the Unicorns. I mean, actually, the Dark Lords. As John Slow's thinking, oh, will I get these guys? Here's the last lap. He should probably just hold it. There's no need to put the cars another lap down. That's very risky indeed, but he's done it. He's put the Unicorn another lap down. Dado looks like he's going to get through for another lap. As this man, John Slow, to take out the 2023. As in the background, we've got the Dark Lord spinning out with the wingless Mercedes. But there you go, John Slow, the 2023 victor of the Bathurst 12 hour here at ANZCRL. Well done to John Slow. What a tremendous drive in the McLaren, which ran in second for most of the race during the dry period. And Dado thinks that his race is over. He's going slow as well, but he's still got to complete that lap. Kempy in 9th position. Well done to him. As we pick up Gunner as he comes across the line in 2nd position. Well done to him. Nice job. And there is Alex Kay coming home in 7th position. Hugo, the last of the podium, on 3rd position. The sun's starting to shine bright onto the circuit here, right at the end of the race. And what a position. That was a great drive by Hugo to end up coming into 3rd position after all the troubles he had through that race. That was an awesome effort. And Woody, what a solid drive. He would be absolutely over the moon with that 4th position. Qualified in 6th place and has had a fairly solid run in 4th position. And there you go, 2 hours and 25 minutes, and we've got the 5 cars on the lead lap. With Dado still going slow around, I think the time is going to beat him out to get to the end. But this man, no one could stop him. Everyone tried. Even Gunner had a spin at into the chase. Almost took both of these cars out, and he was able to get home without any damage. Well, a little bit of damage, but he got through in the end. Awesome drive from John Slow. Hard luck to Gunner, but too many touches on the wall has unsettled that car and his aero. maybe only part of his wing got destroyed, and that's why the whole wing came off on our visuals. Because he definitely has, it was commented by Darky, he has been able to go through the chase fairly well. We saw what happened to Dark Lord without his wing. Yeah, pretty much donuts into the wall. But look, the sun's out. And you got to be happy with that. Dado Racer's still trying to get to the end here. He's lost a wing in the Porsche as well. But that's the end of the race, guys. So we'll just pull up the results here as we come back to our screen. And there you go. You can see we had a track temperature during the day of 45 degrees. And we had the clear heavy cloud and the thunderstorm at the end, and then it cleared up with the sun in the afternoon. But 2 pit stops for the top 5 drivers, all on the lead lap as well. So that extra pit stop from Highlander put him down that lap. Alex K visited the pit lane 4 times. That ruined his race, as did with Cuckoo. And then also look at the fastest lap by Hugo Sutherland. He did a 2:03.179. So the previous lap record, as I said at the opening, was a 2:04.349. So he knocked over a second, 1.2 seconds off that fastest lap. But here we go with the podium place getters. And it's a big congratulations to John Slow taking out that victory. First place with Gun 180 in second position in the Mercedes. And a solid drive by Hugo in third position. Alright, I've been your host, Neil Haynes. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe our channel, and check us out, AUS-NZCRL.weebly.com for all your sim racing on Sunday nights on AMS2. Till then, cheerio.